The first time I ever came to Milton Keynes as a skateboarder was a long time before I got involved in working in the skateboard industry. I came here, I can't remember exactly, but I remember coming here with my brother and some other friends because we knew about it, because we'd seen it in Magazine. And we probably, I guess we would have skated Station Square first, because that's the first thing you see when you get here. And then we knew what the bus station was. We probably didn't refer to it as the bus station, but we knew it was that spot with the marble ledges. I think we were quite intimidated though, because, not in a bad way, but people were very, very good at a particular type of technical skateboard. And where I came from, there was no architecture that allowed you to be good at that. So I think we came with the intention of skating the bus station, but we ended up just standing there and watching. We're like, whoa, these dudes can do tricks that it almost sounds daft to say this now in 2019, because the acceleration and the learning curve is so advanced now. But back then, I think the first time I came to Milton Keynes, I saw people doing tricks that I'd never seen anyone do. So I'm talking late 80s to very early 90s. Skateboarding was in like a strange inward-looking phase where a lot of the tricks that people do now were being invented or crossing over from an earlier version of freestyle skating and being adopted by street skaters. That progression was very site-specific, which is why it came from America and it came from California in particular. Milton Keynes, the architecture of it, and particularly the bus station and Station Square and a couple of other places, were like sort of crucibles of progression that didn't really exist in any other cities in Britain, because they didn't have marble ledges, they didn't have smooth floor, they didn't have like an undercover space like this place, the bus station. Like, whoa, there's marble everywhere. It doesn't look like where I'm from. The floor's smooth, there are like geometric shapes everywhere. Milton Keynes architecture, to me as a young skateboarder, looked how I imagined Los Angeles to look. I was formerly the editor of Sidewalk Magazine, which was initially called Sidewalk Surf Magazine, which at the time was the only British skateboard magazine. I was involved in it from issue 1, but I wasn't a staff member until like issue 13 or something. But Milton Keynes is tied in intrinsically to the development of that magazine and has featured in it, probably every issue of the 223 issues I think we did over 20 years. Another thing about working for Sidewalk is obviously we went on tour with like super famous American teams when they came to Britain. Americans used to go nuts when they came to Milton Keynes, because it was like the British version of what they were used to, but it was still British. We always came here, always, because either we as magazine staff would suggest it because they were Americans and they didn't like rough spots, they wanted to come and skate something perfect, which you have on tap here, or they already knew about Milton Keynes, because generally they wouldn't call it Milton Keynes, they'd say we want to go to the place with all the marble blocks. I came here on a girl tour in I think probably maybe 2004, 2005, and they didn't want to leave. We came here for an afternoon, I think. We ended up booking a hotel and staying in Milton Keynes for 4 days because they couldn't believe how good it was for skating. And I guess the bussy was quite new then as well, so not that much stuff had been documented on it, and they might have been the first big name Americans to come and skate here. So one of the most memorable skate sort of trick things that I can remember from that experience of working for Sidewalk and coming to Milton Keynes with Americans is Brian Anderson did a line at Brown Bars where he started at the top of the hill, did a trick up the curb, rolled down, went down the small stairs next to the small brown bar, did something else on flat, and then ollied over, like not the way people normally skate, the big brown bars. He went over the rail and off, and he had this crazy kind of albatross style because he's like a massive dude and everything. And I remember watching that in real life, and I worked for a magazine, so I saw lots of pro skaters, but seeing that happen was pretty mad, because obviously Brown Bars is a really famous spot in Milton Keynes and everyone skated it like the same way, and that was the first time I'd seen anyone do a proper line there rather than just flinging themselves over either the little one or the big one. So I guess I was instrumental in bringing quite a lot of outsiders to Milton Keynes, because I always kind of championed it as a place to go to, because part of my role working at Sidewalk as the editor nominally was to put people in my car and drive them to the bus station and go, there you go. Just kind of spreading the Milton Keynes love, I suppose, nationally a bit. And again, directing Americans here because they want to skate ledges. Well, where are you going to go? You're going to go to Milton Keynes.